Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sydney, and as someone who just recently moved to New York, I wanted to share my tips, tricks, and my experience on the move here to hopefully help you with your move to New York and making it as cost-effective and efficient as possible. So in this video, we will be covering all things moving, as far as how do you go about finding an apartment, planning to move, how to make a list of your wants and needs, create a budget, do you need a broker, what are all your costs going to be, and literally anything in between. And if there's anything I don't cover in this video, make sure to comment down below and I will make sure to answer to the best of my ability. Let's get into it. So the first important thing to do is your research on what you're going to want out of an apartment. It's very important to make a list of needs and wants, so it's good to have must-haves in your apartment, or at least in your building, and then a list of nice-to-haves. So for example, a must-have for me was a balcony because I have a dog and I want him to get some fresh air. A nice to have would be, for me, a dishwasher because I don't mind doing dishes, but it would be nice. Luckily, I got both out of this apartment. So something like that, you definitely want to gauge, what your needs and wants are. It's also very important to come up with a budget. How much do you want to spend on rent? How much should you spend on rent? And if you're living alone, that could be a different budget than if you were to room with a roommate or a significant other. So depending on what you're doing, if you are having a roommate, you guys definitely should discuss, what is your budget, and also, try to talk about what you both are looking for out of an apartment. The next thing to do before you start looking for apartments is to see what borough you wouldn't mind staying in. There are a good amount of boroughs in New York: Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, Long Island. Is there anything else? I think that's 5. I think that's all of them. I don't know. I'm new here, okay? You definitely want to see what borough works for you, what's going to make you most comfortable, what's going to be the easiest commute to your job, everything like that. So do your research. I definitely would recommend, if you could come and visit New York prior to looking for an apartment, or if you come and look while looking at apartments, that's definitely the best thing to do to make sure you get a real gauge of, the community that you're going to live in. Pictures and videos online definitely don't do justice that it needs to do. I definitely recommend coming in person so you can see it for yourself, just in case there's any miscommunication or lies on the internet. So the last thing that you want to figure out before you start actually looking at apartments is figuring out your timeline. When do you want to move to New York? The timeline is very important because the market in New York moves so fast. So say you want to move to New York by the 1st of September. It's almost July now, so this will be way too early to start looking because what's available now in July will not be available by the 1st of September. So it's always best to kind of plan about a month and a half out. I would definitely start saying, about 2 months to a month and a half out. That's when you should start building your list, getting all your documents and things together, because you want to start actually looking for what apartments may be available by half a month to a full month before you plan to move. So for me, I wanted to move in June 1st. So I came May 17th to come with my broker and my roommate to look at apartments, because we knew that if we looked at the beginning of May, that those apartments wouldn't be available by the time we even came to New York to look on the 17th, let alone to move into by the 1st of June. So if you want to move into, say, an apartment by the 1st of September, I recommend coming mid-August to see what's available now, get a gauge, look at what apartments you like, hopefully put a application in so that apartment is already set in stone for you by the 1st of September. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how fast the market moves. I remember sometimes, I would just be on Street Easy all day looking at apartments, and some of the listings that I saw earlier that morning would be gone by that same night. That's just how fast it moves. So I would definitely recommend that when you do go out to look for your apartment, and hopefully that's a date that's kind of closer to your move-in, you have your application documents ready, you have your money ready, because by the time you put in your application and they approve you, that money needs to be there immediately in the next, I think, 24 to 48 hours, so that they can set that apartment for you only, and they won't take any other applicants or anything like that. Cool, so you have your list together, you know all your needs and wants, you know your budget, and now you can start looking for apartments. There's two ways to go about this. You can do it on your own, or you can get a broker. I'm gonna explain both, so don't worry. First, I'm gonna explain how to go it by yourself, what I recommend, and then since I dealt with the broker, I will share my experience on that. So going about finding an apartment on your own. Basically, it's definitely the most cost-effective way. It's very easy. There's tons and tons and tons and tons of websites and resources to help you. It's just probably gonna be more of, a stress on you because you're doing it yourself. So there's two websites that I definitely recommend for all the people that are looking to move to New York, and that's Street Easy and Rent Hop. These two websites are definitely the most reliable. A lot of New Yorkers use it to find their apartment because usually the listings are very truthful. It's very easy to maneuver and everything like that. So those are the two that helped me out the most and that I used religiously throughout my whole entire apartment search process. Basically, you just go on those two websites, you put in all the descriptions, the list of what you want or what you would like to have out of your apartment, what boroughs you want to look in, your budget, and everything under the sun. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what amenities, this, that, and all that. So that's the easiest way. All you have to do is go through the listings, save the ones that work for you. I definitely would recommend reaching out to the realtors of that property, trying to schedule a tour. If you can't make it in person, hopefully they'll be able to do a virtual tour. They'll FaceTime you, or they'll go out to the property themselves and take videos and send that to you so you can decide that way. But I definitely do recommend going in person. So like I said, you can get an actual feel of the property. You can see how big the actual unit is. You can see the surrounding areas. You can see what's close by. Are you close to a grocery store, the train, everything along that nature. So I definitely do recommend, looking and going into the apartment yourself. So first of all, a broker is very common in New York. It's basically like a realtor, someone who takes you to all your listings, someone who schedules the listings, handles your deals, your contracts, keeps you in the loop of everything. And basically they're over your whole entire process of finding and signing for an apartment. But that does come with a cost. As someone who dealt with a broker and used a broker, I can give you the real, okay? I can give you the real. Brokers are cool, they're definitely a help throughout the whole apartment finding process. I think they are useful, but I don't think they're necessary. I used one because I'm new to New York as a whole. I was moving from out of state. They know more about the city than I do. They probably know, underground listings that aren't even on the website yet. So that's why I went about it, because I thought they would be an extreme help. Knowing what I know now, I won't be doing it again. That's the truth. I won't be doing it again. And it's just because I felt like still I was taking on the role of a broker. I was still finding, all the apartments I liked. Most of the apartments we viewed, I found, and things like that. So although they did help in certain scenarios, I think that me just being the person I am, I like to be really hands-on. I just think that it kind of wasn't necessary for me, but I did it anyways, and it was an expense. There are two ways to go about broker fees. It's either a 15% of the annual rent, and I'm gonna break that down in a second, or it's 1 month's rent, and that's what you pay them once they find you an apartment and you sign for it. So say you do go with a broker. They find you an apartment, you sign the apartment, now what are you gonna pay them? It really depends on the contract or deal that you have worked out. It can either be 15% of the annual rent, or it can be 1 month's rent. So let me break it down for you. If you're paying 15% of the annual rent, so say your rent's $1,500 and your lease is for a year. So you're doing $1,500 times 12 months and then times 15%, and whatever that is, that's what you owe. And I think when I did the math earlier, that came out to $2,700. And that is a huge difference from if you're just paying 1 month's rent, which was that $1,500. So either way your deal is or the contract is, you'll be paying, along those lines. And it can get costly, especially depending on how long your lease is, how much your rent is, and things like that. So that's why I say if you do use a broker, make sure you really need it, because it is an extra expense and I don't think it's that necessary. But if you do feel more comfortable having someone who knows the ins and outs of New York, knows the market and everything like that, then definitely go for it. Okay, so step 3, application documents. These documents are so vital for you to get into the apartment that you want. All these documents are going to be asked for by the landlord, and you're definitely going to want them secured and available for them to have by the time you're ready to start applying for apartments. Okay, so these are the documents that you're going to want to have, and this kind of varies between if you've been employed for a certain amount of time or if you're a new hire like me. So this goes for everybody. You're going to need a government issued photo ID, so like a license. You're also going to need a signed letter of employment from the company you're working for. Anybody who's already employed or is a new hire should already have this document. This basically states what your salary is, what your start date is, and the length of your contract and things within that nature. I guess this document is just for them to be able to prove that you do have consistent income coming in and that you're able to afford, the unit that you're applying for. You're also going to want to have your 2 most recent pay stubs if you are an employed person, or if you're a new hire, you're going to want to at least be able to show your 2 most recent bank statements from the past 30 days. So I would definitely wait to get this document a little bit closer to when you plan on applying. You can either get this document from your bank in person, or you can go online on your banking app and download it that way. If you've ever had a job before, you're also going to want to be able to provide your most recent W-2, which I also don't remember what that document is, so sorry about that. And this goes for everybody as well. You're going to want to be able to provide your first 2 pages of your most recent 1040 tax return document. And then this next one is kind of optional, but it will help your application stand out from other applicants, and that is a landlord reference letter. So if you've stayed at another apartment and they're able to, state that you were a great tenant, you paid your rent on time every month, and that you were clean, they never had any issues with you, that will definitely be great to provide, so that the people that you're applying to will be able to tell what kind of candidate you are. And since pretty much all applications are digital now, I would just try to have all these documents in a PDF file, so that when it's time for you to go online and apply, you could just drop the file on the website or whatever they have you turning it in on, and it will just make the application process really easy, really quick, and hopefully you'll be able to apply and stand out a lot faster than anyone else applying for the apartment, which will certify you to get it. All right. Let's get to the real. What is it gonna cost you to move to New York? And the real question is a lot. It's gonna cost you a lot. I just wanna kind of put it into perspective all the things that you possibly or more than likely will be paying for. So you have at least $20 application fees. Each application for me was $20. So you have application fees, then you have your first month's rent, you have your security deposit. If you have a broker, then you're paying a broker fee. And then on top of that, you have your moving expenses. So if you're gonna have a truck, or if you're gonna be driving yourself, flight, gas and all of that. And then on top of that, once you get into the apartment, you wanna be comfortable, you wanna have furniture, you wanna have food. So it's a lot of things that are going into just moving alone. And if I just had to give you a range of what I would say to have saved just for your move, I would say at least $10,000 minimum, and that's for one person. What I found that most of my savings, which I was saving for years and years and years, specifically for, my post-grad move, I knew that as soon as I graduated from college, I wasn't going back home. So I had already been saving for years to, be able to move to where I wanted to and be comfortable and be able to, you know, not live super frugally once I get to where I am. And I did that by saving. I can realistically and honestly tell you that most of my savings was depleted just to get into the door here. That wasn't even from getting furniture I needed, getting groceries. That was just getting in the door. So my biggest, if you take anything from this video, is to save before you move here. Save because there's just so many fees. It's so expensive. And like I said, once you do get here, you want to have money to be comfortable with before you start working, however your situation may be. So when I moved here a month earlier than when I would start working. So I knew that I needed money for my move, and then I needed a month and a half of living money, enjoyment money, food money, grocery, all that stuff to be comfortable before I actually start working July 8th. So whatever your situation may be, I just want you to be comfortable with your, you know, your living expenses, your living arrangements. So, because, you know, no one wants to move to New York and then feel flat out broke. So yeah, take into all that you're going to need to move here. And additionally, you know, that's just for one person. My roommate needed her own money. I needed my own money. You know, of course we split all the expenses that we need coming into the apartment, but that stuff really adds up. So just keep that in mind. And, you know, it could be an even higher range of what I would suggest for you to save, just depending on what your rent may be. Because like I said, that first month's rent, that security deposit, and if you have a broker, that broker fee will be due way before you even get to move into your apartment. So now that we've covered all the important things, I wanted to give you guys a couple of other tips that I've learned along the way. If you're moving from out of state or you're moving cross states a long trip, I definitely recommend, and this is why creating your timeline is so important, I definitely recommend calling the moving trucks about a month or two out if you can, just because the further out it is, the cheaper it is, and that's what I found. Moving trucks are very expensive, y'all. I'm talking about thousands of dollars. I think they were charging me at the minimum $1,600 to move like across, I don't know, 7 states or something like that. I don't even remember what the mileage was, but that was the minimum of what they were charging me. And then it goes up by, you know, how big the truck needs to be, how much stuff you have, if you need movers to help you pack up your stuff, move it, and then unpack. It just varies a lot. So if you plan on getting a moving truck, I would definitely think about the cost of that for sure. Or if you can find a way around it, like I was able to have some family members, which I'm so grateful for, help me and use their cars to help me drive up and move my stuff. And that just saved me thousands of dollars basically. Next thing I learned that is if you're traveling with a pet or if you're moving with a pet, I definitely recommend to get them ESA certified. It's super easy. Literally, you do a questionnaire online, they approve you, you pay for it, they send you a vest and some training videos. But the reason I say to register your dog as an ESA is just because it waives all the pet fees in most apartment buildings, if not all. I think that's required. And then the vest that they give you allows you to take them into grocery stores, restaurants, shops, and things like that, which can be very useful. Basically, it just makes it easier for you to bring your dog everywhere that you go, like I do, and saves you a lot of money in monthly pet fees or even the initial pet fee. So yeah guys, that is everything I'm gonna cover in this video. Again, I hope you enjoyed. I hope that I was able to offer some guidance and some help to your move. I wish you the best. If there's any questions that I didn't answer, make sure to comment them down below. I'll try to get to you as soon as possible, and hopefully I'll have the answers for you. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more vlogs coming. Subscribe, like, comment, all of that, because I do have some exciting things coming. And yeah, I love y'all. See you later. Bye.